you're ready, man, we'll go ahead and get into unlocks.
Sure.
All right.
Good.
All right, I'll start. Currently, as of today, earlier today, March 10th, 2024, I've got 3 spotlight keys with a collector level of 10,031. I broke the 10,000 mark finally. As far as cards go, variants, Dan Hipp Wasp,
Nice.
Luca Claretti Morph, Pantheon Dracula.
I'm not sure what Pantheon means. I know what the word means, but
Right.
I'm not sure what the Pantheon series connotes. It's not the team the Hulk ran around with in the late 80s, early 90s. I know that.
No, it is not. Then we got Dan Hipp Rhino. And then they were running something for it was like a login event where you logged in successively for like 7 days, I think. Then you get a mystery variant. And I ended up with a Dan Hipp Galactus.
Nice.
I'm pretty stoked about that. I haven't used him yet, but he's in there. And I needed a Gambit variant. I went and bought a Pixel Gambit.
Nice. Yes, I was jealous of that one.
I like it. I like it a lot. Talked about how I bought Corvus Glaive with a key. There's a Mad Boogie Wolfsbane after that. Dan Hipp Lockjaw, good dog. As I like to call him. He's a good doggy. We got a fantasy variant of Dodson. And I don't know. I think it was one of the ones in the cache with Proxima Midnight, because the next couple cards that I got was Proxima Midnight. And I thought to myself, I'm going to try for MODOK. I don't have MODOK, never had him. I got MODOK for the first time.
I would have actually been satisfied with that MODOK chowing down variant. But, But I wasn't about to use a spotlight key on MODOK. I complained about MODOK too much, even though I find him useful now.
Yeah. An Alex Garner Taskmaster, which is really cool looking. It's a lot of black and white. Okay. I like it. Chibi Debris. The old chibis. Pixel Multiple Man.
Yeah.
Pixel Sarah, which is, I don't know who looks more generic, Pixel Sarah or Pixel Punisher, but it's close. It's pretty close.
Yeah, but did you get a Pixel Sarah avatar?
No, I did not. But I honestly think you would be like, who is that?
I played against somebody using the Pixel Red Skull avatar, and it looks like M. Bison.
Yes. Oh, it's great.
So I kind of want that one.
And my last card, I didn't get very many cards this go around, was an Alex Maleev Jessica Jones, which I was not upset about. I liked it.
That's a good one.
I appreciate
the primary Jessica Jones I use.
Right. All right, that's it, man. That's all my unlocks for the season. What about you?
Okay, well, I tried for Supergiant, and in addition to 1,000 tokens, I got the Kai Lun Q, my apologies, Zabu, which is pretty cool. Became my go-to Zabu, glowing green for some reason, but just looks awesome. I got the Darkhawk Tribute variant, which is him crouching on some, I don't know, metal stuff that it's supposed to be. I think is it a McFarlane or an Eric Larson Spider-Man? It's classic Spider-Man crouching.
Right.
So that became my go-to Darkhawk. Got an Eduardo Francisco Taskmaster, which is the MCU version.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got you. It's the girl.
Yeah. Spoilers for people who haven't seen Black Widow.
Oh, my bad.
The Dan Hipp Omega Red.
Yeah, that's nice.
Of Max Grecki Vision.
Okay.
And speaking of comic artist variants, the Chris Samney Captain America. Still can't bring myself to use Cap much, but if I was gonna, this would be the card I'd use.
Okay.
A Dan Hipp X-23, because why not? Shocker by Nicola, can't pronounce his last name, which is Shocker in a windbreaker that somehow looks pretty cool.
All right.
A Dan Hipp Korg.
Oh, yeah, the old Dan Hipp Korg. Seen him a good bit.
Took one shot at Cull Obsidian, I think, after I decided I wasn't going to get Corvus Glaive. I missed him, but got Nimrod.
Okay.
And it used Nimrod quite a bit.
Did you?
After being like, I don't want to use Nimrod. Everybody uses Nimrod. Oh, yeah. I used Galactus when I got him last season. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine pointed out, well, you know who else Nimrod works well with is Destroyer.
Oh.
My Galactus deck morphed into a combo Nimrod Galactus Destroyer deck.
Nice.
So now I got 2 people to abuse Nimrod with.
That's great.
So I'm not sure how successful it was, but it's fun to try to get those to pull off.
Nice.
I don't know that I advanced very far with it, but it's fun to play.
Okay.
I think my mystery variant, I got Rogue by Terry and Rachel Dodson, which also has a lot of the folks from the first Krakoa X-Men team in the background. So it's pretty cool. Dodson's art.
Oh, I think I might have seen this.
The Dodson's art, they had a long run on Generation X. I think of their art even more than Chris Pacello's when it comes to Generation X. It doesn't always work in every title for me, but it's familiar. I like it. And
there's not too many cards out there either that actually have multiple members of a team on it.
Yeah.
I think this might be one of the very few.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like that one. Let's see. I got a noir variant of the Hood, which looks pretty much like the Hood always does, but I like it. It's my favorite of the various Hood cards I have. I got a Dan Hipp Typhoid Mary.
Okay.
I got a Brood by an artist named Virgilio D'Ambrosio. Very, very nice looking Brood, but you're not gonna get Brew off of my favorite. I got the Dakin Fantasy variant. It reminded me of, I think he was a horseman of Apocalypse or some Apocalypse adjacent characters for a minute or two in Uncanny Avengers. It reminded me of that.
Okay.
I don't know. Proxima Midnight, I got her. And then I got Meek, or as my message to you said, I got Mike. I went ahead and got Meek since I was gearing up to play a whole bunch of discards for 3,000 tokens. Used him. He's all right. He's not a must, but he works.
Yeah, I mean, he's one cost. He's out there, and he's able to gain a little bit of power if you can discard as much. I think I definitely was playing with him in my Corvus Glaive deck for sure.
Yeah. Got an Eduardo Francisco Ghost, which is, I don't know, a little more realistic or grittier than the original Ghost variant. Got a Pixel Squirrel Girl. That's right up my alley.
Nice, yes.
Pixel Okoye.
Okay.
And Pixel Morbius.
Wow.
A 1602 variant of Sarah, who pretty sure wasn't introduced until years after 1602.
What's she doing in 1602?
Well, she is connected to Angela, and Angela was created by Neil Gaiman, who wrote 1602,
right?
Via the transitive property. Yeah, I don't know. I want to like the 1602 variants, but most of them just don't do anything for me, especially the Beast one that looks way too modern for 1602. It's maybe 1902? But, got a Pixel Lady Sif. What we need is 1602 Captain America, because he was a blonde white Native American.
Nice.
But there was a reason for that. And then the last one I got was the Pandart Studio Onslaught, which looks cool, but I got a Dan Hipp Onslaught. What am I going to do? How am I going to... What's going to dislodge that? Like, good luck. You can go on the bench with non-brew brood variants.
Right.
It does look cool. But,
okay. All right.
So there you go.
Nice. Very nice. You got a favorite out of those?
By usefulness, Proxima Midnight and Nimrod. I used all of them, but that Rogue. Oh, wait. What am I talking about? It's the Darkhawk variant.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you sent that to both me and Chris, if I remember right.
That's an old school Darkhawk too. It's doubly good because a lot of them aren't quite the Darkhawk that I'm used to. A lot of the variants, they look cool, and there's nothing wrong with alternate designs, but that reminds me of the original Darkhawk, and that even if it wasn't a Spider-Man homage, that would look really awesome.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, I'm walking away probably liking my Pixel Gambit the most. He immediately was flagged as my favorite and replaced in all my decks, and I needed a Gambit variant for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a cool looking card because it's an all white background, and he really sticks out from it. And I just upgraded it to Infinity. I want to say it was like
and beyond.
And beyond, yes, it was crazy. Gambit got into a spacesuit. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it doesn't look too bad when it's upgraded either. I dug it. Any specific plays that stuck out to you? What were you seeing as far as trends go this season?
A lot of discard.
Yep, discard is back, and I think if you go back to last year or however long ago it was when we started this, you'll hear me gripe about discard a lot, and. Yeah. Now I'm a fan. I think I've turned the I've turned the corner and become a fan of discard now.
Yeah, I used, like I said, I just put Proxima Midnight into my most strong deck, and then I tried one with Apocalypse and Swarm, because if you're trying to get rid of them to get those bonus points for strong guy, you have no need of Swarm and Apocalypse.
Right.
Because you can't get rid of them. I tried a few variations on that. Didn't make a whole lot of progress. I hit 80 and then cratered back down to 70, and that's pretty much where I stayed. But I had fun with it. It's fun to try the different discard things. I need to try some more random stuff because I don't think any of mine. I didn't use Hellcow, didn't use Swordmaster, didn't use Moon Knight. I like to know what's getting discarded, except occasionally I even messed that up when something I did added a card to my hand and Blade took that card out. And then for a while,
I've done that.
Yeah, for a while I was brilliantly using Helicarrier and Black Knight, and then Sif would take out the Helicarrier. The Helicarrier, since it got changed, would fill my hand up, and then I wouldn't get the Ebony Blade. Yeah, I eventually figured out don't run Black Knight with Helicarrier because defeats the purpose of having Black Knight.
Yeah, I think that you're talking about Blade, the mishaps with Blade. It was the freaking cloning vats. I lay down 2 cards, and a first card I laid down was on a cloning vats, and then Blade ends up discarding it. And I was like, oh no, it got in front of my Apocalypse that I had planned on discarding. I was screaming. Yeah, definitely discard made a comeback. I was using a lot of those Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, making sure to build decks around those. I didn't get very far. I think I may have come close to 80, but I don't think I hit 80. I think I was in the mid 70s and then got dropped back down. There was a Reddit post that I saw. It was a week or so ago, and a guy was like, "I'm out. I'm done playing this game." So I've played it to my heart's content. I've made infinite every month, and I'm like, "You made infinite after every month? How? Who does that?" And I don't understand how this guy, he was legitimately serious. He was done playing. I think, I can't remember his main reason why, but the comment that stuck out to me was like, yeah, I made infinite every month that I was playing. And I was just like, dude, I've never made infinite yet. I'm not playing it constantly, but regardless, there is always a situation where I run into, it's the mid 70s. It becomes that 70s show. It's up 3 level or up a couple and then down a couple, then up a couple and then down a couple and then up a couple. And I'm just like, well, I don't know how to break this skid, because at that point it's just me against the algorithm. I want to face somebody that has some kind of an answer to my deck, and I'm not going to be able. The only thing I thought of at one point was like, I'm going to switch up decks. I'm playing discard. I'm facing a lot of discard decks. Well, let's see these discard decks deal with this now. And well, lo and behold, every deck that I was playing after that was not a discard deck anymore. Anyway, that's just me griping. But yeah, discard made its way back. So that was a big thing. I think I can't say I was seeing too many combos. I can tell you that I wasn't having much luck. Discard was good, but it still wasn't having much luck for me against High Evolutionary. If High Evolutionary showed up, I was still kind of in trouble. Mm-hmm. But there were some decks that I knew, okay, as soon as I saw the glow, I'm out, retreat. But all right, before we move on to this next segment, though, I want to take just 5 minutes at the most. I don't want to monopolize a lot of your time here, but I want to ask you for your thoughts on Adam Warlock.
Oh yeah.
And going from a 2-cost 0-power card to a, what is it, a 4-cost 5-power? It's a 5-cost 4-power. Okay, you read their explanation as to why they did this, right? Which is that drawing a card is one of the more powerful mechanics in the game. Mm-hmm. And therefore, that's why instead of doing that possibly, it's not a guarantee, but possibly on turn 2, which usually I wasn't drawing an extra card at turn 2 unless I got lucky and Nidavellir was out there and I just happened to lay him down on there when nobody else was there. It was rare. To now, you're only able to draw maybe an extra card 1 or 2 turns, depending on when you get him out there. Maybe even 3 if you get a 7-turn game going and you drop out. You're able to get him out of there on turn 4, which would still be 5, 6. Yeah, it'd be 3. Let me read this to you. This was before I turn you loose on your thoughts.
Okay.
And you can please consider this if you feel like responding. Recently, of course, this is a lot of people have had commentary about this change. It's not been very positive. This Reddit post, the post says, why do they value drawing a card so high? Okay, mind you, they're talking about Adam Warlock there. Now he's 5 cost, 4 power, right? Is that what we said? 5 cost, 4 power. But you can stop an opponent from drawing a card and also make them eat a slot on their board for 3 power. And they're obviously talking about Black Widow.
Okay.
Clearly, what they're trying to get across there is that, well, you are doing more with a Black Widow card than you are possibly doing with a Adam Warlock card here. They don't seem to be on the playing field, because you're able to disrupt somebody from drawing something pretty early. If that's so powerful, why is it that we're able to do that to negatively hurt somebody than benefit yourself? But anyway, what do you think, man? What do you think of this change? What are your thoughts?
I think Black Widow and Adam Warlock are still cards that they're trying to figure out what to do with, because they're right from that perspective. But as frustrating as Black Widow is, do you see her played a lot? I do from time to time, but
time to time, yeah, and it all depends on the deck I'm facing, because she's usually in there to make sure to either keep Ronin's. Is it Ronin? No, it's Darkhawk. Darkhawk's the one that is usually popping up based on my deck size.
Yeah, I use her with Darkhawk and Ronin. Adam Warlock, they even said they weren't quite sure what to do with him, so they tried something pretty different. They may end up changing his ability, because
what happened?
I use Adam Warlock occasionally, a lot of times in early Mr. Negative decks, but there's just too many better options at 2 cost for that. Even in a Mr. Negative deck, there's too many 0 energy cards that get flipped around that you'd rather use than him. And I was trying to look at the other 5 cost cards. I don't see using him. You're going to use him in place. And I mean, I know some people use more 5 cost cards than I do. Mine tend to be heavier on the lower end. But whose spot is Adam Warlock going to take? Maybe Kang's. You going to use him instead of Iron Man?
Right.
Taskmaster, nope. Professor X, Devil Dinosaur, Black Panther. I just don't see him at 5 cost either. And they said they're just trying to kind of experiment with where to put him. I think he went from not being used very much because there's better options at 2 to not being used very much because there's better options at 5.
Right.
They may try to tweak him a little more. It took them a while to get Black Widow moved around to the point where I've seen her more, I think, now that she's a 3/3. The one that surprised me even more, Adam Warlock, was definitely the biggest change, but I think the one that affected the most people was Darkhawk.
Oh, yeah. That I saw
4-0 to a 5-4. He's not palling around with Zabu anymore. I had one friend who said, like, hey, I always use Darkhawk and I'm not using him anymore. I don't think the change is that bad. It's harder to get him out there. Sometimes I had Darkhawk just because if things went right, I could have 3 pretty powerful cards instead of 2. He was as good as a 5 and a 6 cost in a lot of cases. Although you hit him with Enchantress or something like that, there are ways to take Darkhawk down. This, I think, getting Darkhawk out early is rarely a benefit unless you just want to pile up the points. That was an upside, but the longer you have him out there, the easier it is to take him down.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
A lot of times I would try to save him for the end. Now, if you've got Zabu and you can get him and another 4-cost card cut down and play them both on turn 6, I get that, but I don't think my best Mr. Negative deck had Darkhawk in it, and I still kept him in it and played it some after the change and still found it useful.
Okay. All right.
The other thing, I'm glad you mentioned that because it reminded me of the other thing I wanted to talk about that you pointed out to me, but the thing they did for Valentine's week where they gave you bonuses for playing certain cards together that you would normally play together. I thought that was pretty fun.
Great mechanic. Great way of introducing. This was something that I remember mentioning a couple shows ago. We need a situation where a couple cards, if you have them in your deck, get some type of a bonus. I'm sure that's kind of
someone listen to that episode.
I'm sure that it's probably tough to get those mechanics to do that, to get those cards to do that and to make sure everything's balanced out. But this doesn't have to be. They did this for just one weekend. Clearly they can do this.
Yeah.
There is going there has to be some more of these in the future for sure, because it made the game, it gave people an opportunity probably to play cards that they don't normally play.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's
next Valentine's Day, they could always do it with other characters that they forgot to include, like Sarah and Shauna.
Right.
Black Bolt and Medusa. Did they have Luke Cage and Jessica Jones on there?
I think they did. I can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know the one I was using was Miles and Ghost Spider. They were already in a deck together.
She-Hulk and Daredevil I used a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think what I did was I took a 2-cost card out of my Savage Sword of Shulkanaut deck and just tossed Daredevil in there.
Nice. What? Maybe not make it pairs of cards, but let's just say you get the whole team of somebody out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you've got finally make the Fantastic Four work together.
Yeah. Well, at least they had Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. I think I used them. I know I used Iron Man and Rescue. I've had Rescue on some of my Living Iron slot teams, and so I made sure to use her during that week when I used that deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a fun mechanic. I guess I can see them not wanting to do it all the time, but it just gives you an opportunity to use cards you wouldn't normally use, or use cards that should work together, but when they were putting the game together, it didn't work that way.
Yeah. Have a teams weekend where, okay, you get 5 of the X-Men out there, X-Men Blue, the X-Men Alpha team. You get, if you can get the Fantastic Four all out there, you get a bonus for them. Again, now you have a way of pushing cards that don't normally get played together to actually be in a deck together and actually work. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.